Hello, 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 and welcome to the Texarcist live video podcast. This is the debut of the podcast on YouTube, and I'm going to be here every Friday at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, and talking about the topics you want to talk about, the listeners want to talk about. Taking your questions, comments, and personal experiences, things that you may be going through. And please don't hesitate to share those things. Whatever you're going through, there's no dumb question. There's no wrong question. We're here to have a good time, and we're here to learn from each other. I think there needs to be more of that, more of learning from each other, because you know things that I don't know, and vice versa. One thing that has served me very well in life is I have always had an open mind. Not so open that my brains fall out, but I've always had an open mind. And when I was younger, maybe late teens, early 20s, I went through the stage of that we all go through. Maybe I was just a little bit more, I don't know, just a deeper degree of ignorance, I guess you could say. When people talk about light and darkness, many people believe that it's actual light, actual darkness, it's good or it's evil. But that's not true. Truth is light is knowledge, and darkness is lack of knowledge. So how do we define knowledge? Knowledge is power. It's it's been said, the truth will set you free. But that's not true. The truth you know will set you free. The truth you know will set you free. If you don't know it, it's useless to you. And that's my mission, is to share what knowledge I have. And the only thing that I want in return is for people to share their knowledge with me. And like I said, if more people did that, this world would be a much better place. I think that one key thing is that there needs to be more understanding, more patience. And trust me, patience is not one of my virtues. But I turned 50 in December, and I'm much more patient now than I was, even 10 years ago. So, but one of the main things that I see is that people tend to jump to conclusions. They tend to act hastily before thinking, before weighing everything. What we need to do is especially today, especially in this day and time, we need to weigh everything. We need to check everything from every perspective, and don't believe anything just because somebody says it. And that's one thing with me. That's a big thing with me. I don't want you to believe anything I say just because I say it. I want you to do your own research, make up your own mind, and find out for yourself. Many people, they watch the news, they watch major media, and it is, you want to talk about disinformation. I mean, the media has perpetrated so much violence and bloodshed. Absolutely. It's amazing now when I think back in the past at how naive I was. I would see something, or I would hear something on the news, and because the reporter said it, or because the journalist said it, it was true. And now all these years later, to find out that no, it's a lot of it is not true. A lot of it is, in fact, it's pure lies designed to enrage and bring down everyone. I mean, it is always to keep the world in turmoil, because the truth is peace. They say, the world leaders, they say that they want peace, that they're at war. They're at war for peace. They're murdering people. They're murdering certain ethnic groups, certain religious groups for peace. Now, where, in what universe does that make sense? To slaughter and murder and kill and for peace. Now, I'm not talking about defending one's country or one's land, but I'm just talking about this hate, this hatred. And truth is they're not trying to do anything to curtail this hatred. Matter of fact, they're increasing it. They're adding fuel to the fire. I mean, it's just because peace doesn't bring in money, and money is what makes this world go around. I mean, look at the money in drugs. I mean, illicit drugs. Look at the money in petroleum, oil. And I live in Texas, so yeah, big oil is that is money, money, money. So I'm not trying to get political or anything. Matter of fact, I hate politics. I hate religion. I love spirituality, but I hate religion. Why do I hate religion? Well, it's dissension, division. The one denomination, they look at another denomination a little bit different, in a different way, and or just blatantly they dislike them. I believe that there should be, that we should all get along. I mean, as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're not leading anyone astray, I believe that your belief system doesn't matter. Personally with me, it doesn't matter what a person's belief system is. If they treat me with respect and love and kindness, hey, I'm gonna treat them the same way. Where we lose a lot of our power is when we fall into that trap of hating and viewing people as wrong or different or somehow lower or not on the level. That's one way that we lose a lot of our power. So anyway, let me check some messages here, and we'll give people time to join the chat. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just wait just a few minutes. Let's see. Okay. All right. Anyway, yes, the topic tonight is what's on your mind. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world right now, so we can talk about that. or we can talk about anything from A to Z. The strange, paranormal, the unexplained, the lay it on me. Just you know, um, anything from mysticism, hauntings, esoteric, the occult, ancient history, or hidden history. It's just endless topics that we can talk about. With me, I have always been fascinated not with things that are known, but rather things that are unknown, and kind of like a bloodhound. When I get the trail or the scent, I guess you could say I'm obsessive about it. I just keep going until I put the pieces together, I guess, of the puzzle. I love a good challenge. So anyway, topics that we can discuss and talk about. The concept of good and evil. What is evil? What is good? Angels, demons, human consciousness, the power of the human mind. I truly believe that if we really realized just how powerful that we are, our minds, our consciousness, that it would everyone would be empowered to an astonishing degree. I have people that contact me, and there's so many people that they put on that mask of they're strong, they're confident, they're successful, they they're fearless, but deep down that's just a mask. They're scared to death. Hey, Nazreen, thank you. Glad you joined. I was beginning to wonder if there was something wrong, since this is my first time on YouTube live video. Hey, Elaine. So glad you joined. Thank you. Glad to see you here. You too, Elaine. Yeah, I was wondering if there was something wrong, because this is my first time. So you're going to have to go easy on me, okay? Because this is my first time live video on YouTube. And and you know how sensitive I am. So, those that don't know me, okay, yes, I'm sensitive. So those of you that don't know me, if you see Elaine picking on me, just know that that's what she does. She doesn't pick on everybody. She just picks on Shane. So anyway, we have a lot of fun. We all do. Anyway, so yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It is, even when it seems bad. But um, there, there was a woman, and I never name names. And I'm not complaining. I'm not. I'm not spewing anything out that, I'm not disgusted or anything like that. I'm just making a point about people that they put on this facade. Why? Because they've been indoctrinated to do so. How many times have you heard a mother or a father tell their child when they're emotionally distraught, they're hurting? It's like, if you don't stop being a sissy and man up, I'm gonna, I'm really gonna give you something to cry about. As a child, that's why I never cried. I just, so they never had to tell me, I'll give you something to cry about. I'll really give you something to cry about. Hey, Patricia, glad you joined us. And see, Elaine, you say it's easier to put on a facade instead of dealing with reality. Well, yes, but when you do that, nothing against people that do, but truth is, when you do that, you're living a lie. You're not living life. Life is living you. I'll say that again. When you put on a facade, and you are lying to yourself because it's easier. But in doing so, you're living a lie. And that's not living. That's surviving. That's allowing life to live you, and you miss out. Going through the motions, exactly right. Going through the motions. And those motions, they're not even your motions. Not really. They're learned. They're ingrained. It's like schools now. Schools, even colleges. All of the learning institutions, they don't teach. They don't educate. They indoctrinate. And anyone that questions the status quo or questions truth, anyone that questions or says, how do you know it happened that way? Because as we talked about on the last podcast, history is written by the victors. The winners, they write history, never the losers. No one reads those who were defeated in war, or those who were slaughtered. No one reads about what truly happened. So you have cruel, sadistic, or, well, I mean, throughout history, it's been a repeating pattern. I mean, a cycles upon cycles of really cruel, sadistic psychopaths or heartless people, and they've been made out to be heroes. I mean, and vice versa. There's been good people that have been vilified, and that's that is one thing that is the number one thing. There's a problem. There's a problem in the world today, and it's bigger than drug addiction. It's bigger than domestic violence. It's bigger than any and all diseases put together. It's bigger than hatred, dissension, wars. It's astounding how powerful it is. But it is people feeling and seeing themselves as weak or inadequate. Self-hatred, self-depreciation. Now, how can you appreciate someone else when you don't appreciate yourself? That's what Elaine said last podcast. You can't love others unless you love yourself. But why is it that we've been indoctrinated? Oh, no. You don't love yourself. Don't do that. That's arrogant. That's conceited. I'm not talking about being conceited. I'm not talking about being arrogant. I'm talking about loving yourself. And this woman that contacted me this morning, actually, I told her, I said, look, she says, I'm miserable. Why are you miserable? Well, I hurt. Okay. How do you hurt? Well, my bones hurt. And I'm thinking, girl, I turned 50 last year. I'm finding out now that there is pain that I believe the scientists have failed to discover yet. But leave it to me. I feel like I have discovered it. Yeah. No, I didn't discover, great things. I didn't discover, King Tut's tomb or anything. No, I discovered pain that, that, it would take me about a week before I could even go into the morgue sometimes, and it hurts. But what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Am I going to stop? Now, that's not to say that I'm some kind of, Superman, that I'm oblivious to pain. Sometimes, of course, I have back problems, really, really bad back pain. And sometimes I'm in bed on the heating pad, and it's so frustrating because you want to move, you want to get up, you want to do things, but your body says nope. And so, having said that, this woman tells me that she, that she hurts. And so I listened to her for a while, and let me catch up on the chat real quick. Let's see. All right. Oh yeah, who came up with a new math anyway? Yeah, really. It's probably someone high on crack. Oh man. Yeah. Crack would probably help the new math. Oh, did I say that out loud? Kidding. Capitalism and the mindset that you need to be out for yourself because no one else will help you. Exactly. And sadly, a lot of the time, that's the truth. It's dog eat dog. And not only dog eat dog, I mean, dog kill dog. And I have seen people that, well, when I worked at the corporate funeral home, I'm an ex funeral director and embalmer, grief counselor, was in the funeral business for 20 years as a funeral director and embalmer. And let me tell you, the corporate funeral industry, the ones that are at the top, the ones that are making the big bucks, they walk around and, oh, they're, blah, they're big people, and truth is, they didn't get there. Most of them did not get there by being humble and being nice and kind-hearted. They got there by deceit, lies. They got there by stepping and stomping on coworkers' dreams. I mean, yeah. I mean, and never thought twice about it. I mean, I saw it, I watched it, and I'm sure most of you have too. It's sickening. But they're the ones that have the money. They have the power, well, in the workplace. And they're just absolutely, you see them and you think, wow, they're so successful, and I've heard a lot of people say, I wish I could be like that. No, you don't. Because they don't have any friends. They don't have any friends at all. They have acquaintances. They have people that they work together with. But make no mistake, you don't turn your back on them, even if you're so-called their friend. Yeah. You get a knife in the back. And if you ever have an argument, and hey, let's bury the hatchet, they'll bury it, right in your forehead, or I should say in the back of your head. Rough. But why is it that way? I mean, because like Elaine said, capitalism, materialism, it's ruthless. Let me see here. Elaine laughing. You got parts of you that you never knew hurt. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Patricia, you say, I'm 20, but I've had this pain in my jaw connectors that I have a shocking sensation when I smile or something while I chew. Apparently, it's very rare and no one else knows about it. It's fun. Is the pain that you experience, is it in your jaw up by your ear? I feel like that I feel like when you said that, I feel like that the pain, when you said shocking, I just felt like right there, like a little bit behind your ear, but up here, and it's just excruciating. I don't know, but sounds, yes, it does sound like TMJ, but I think what you're talking about, Patricia, is more like it's like a nerve pain from hell, with a pointed taser, because I don't know. I have no idea why, but I feel like that it's like a very painful electrical shock. Although it's not, but it feels, that's the best way I can describe it. I don't know. William Bennett, thank you for joining us. Let's see. When you have owned a business where you have competitors, you have to have that sort of mindset because the competition is always out to drive you out. Absolutely. Absolutely. You are right, sir. Yes. You have to look at every option to protect your profit margin. Yes. And that's what I'm talking about, is that's the sad state of the world today. And not only in business, but in life in general now. I mean, it's there's, of course, I mean, I'm not being, I'm not saying that everybody's out to get you, but you can be sure that there are some. And I don't trust many people, not at all. And yeah, maybe 5, 4, 3. Yeah, that's no, it's like they, oh, come on, trust. So I do it. Bam. Never again. You get clocked one too many times, and it's like, yeah, it's I don't know. It's not that I'm not that I go out and mistreat people or am deceitful with them or take from them or whatever, but I make sure that it doesn't happen to me. And so, but let me see what you say. At your level, your life is work because the competition is doing the same. That's right. Same way. See, Elaine, you say, as a business owner, it's about capturing the largest market share or having a niche in something already established. That's right. Okay, Patricia. I would I would be very interested in knowing or knowing what it's called, since it's very rare. Yeah, because my jaw pops being an ex-boxer. Yeah, I got clocked a few times. Okay, not many, but when I did, it was bad, and my jaw is somehow, it's not aligned. It wasn't broke, but it was jarred enough that it clicks now when I eat. So anyway, um, William, you say business owners just have to think differently. If you want to have morals and be kind-hearted, don't get into owning a business. Exactly. Exactly. And that's something that that something along the lines, the same mindset that Muhammad Ali, they asked him, they said, why are you so arrogant? And he said, I'm only putting on a show. He said, I'm not really like this. And they said, well, why do you do it? And he says, because when you're in the limelight, when you're in this business, when you're in the, he said, humble people never make it very far. Truth. Truth. And so that's why he was so crass and brazen and just loud and obnoxious, but it's all an act. Truth is, Muhammad Ali probably gave more to charities and the poor, probably more than any other human being that's ever lived. But that's what he said. He said, you have to be that way, because kind-hearted go along to get along. Humble people, he says, they don't make it very far. True. Patricia, you're right. You say people have told me to be a business owner, but I knew I couldn't be that because it would crush me. Well, that's I don't know. My view on that is I believe that it can be done. You can be successful, but you have to understand that you can be kind-hearted, but you have to be just. When I say just, I mean when someone crosses the line, you have to turn that kind-hearted. You have to turn that kind-heartedness off. You have to become like a damn mafia don and just emotions off and do what needs to be done. Lay the law down. Get rid of those that work for you that are causing trouble or plotting against you or whatever. But so many people are, well, let's give John another chance. I'm like, no, how about we, bury John? No, I'm kidding. But it's like, no, you know, I was a manager of two, funeral homes, and that's something that they knew about me is I was nice, I was fair, but I was just. And if they screwed up or purposefully did something wrong, or mistreated another employee, they didn't get a second chance. This 3 strikes and you're out, that's bull. That's a recipe for disaster. That's saying, okay, you get two free shots. No. First time you're out. See you. I mean, so Elaine, you say, I disagree. I ran a multi-million-dollar store and ran it with morals, integrity. It was all about the customers. That's what I'm saying. Is it's rare, but I believe it can be done, and it is the people you hire. And man, it's the people that work for you. There has to be mutual respect. I mean, from the owner, CEO, whatever, down to the person starting. And that's something that you do not see in business today. I mean, you see, I experienced it, and I've told those listeners of the podcast that they would literally, I would walk down the hall every day and pass them in the hall and be cordial, respectful, and hey, how's it going? And they would just roll their eyes and never say a word and keep walking. That's a good way to ruin a business, because the employees, they don't want to do a damn thing for you. I truthfully believe that when you set an example and you care, you respect and you care about those employees, to where you set such an example that they take a bullet for you because they respect you so much. Yes. But this well, I'm CEO and you're so far beneath me, I'm not even going to speak to you. Even when you speak to me, I'm not going to speak to you because you're not worth my time. And those of you that have listened, you know how that turned out with me. One day I just stopped and said, no more. And yeah, I set things straight, and big boss man broke down in tears and just started crying like a baby. Wah, wah, wah. Well, he earned it. So did that make me the big man? Did that make me rich? Did that make me feel good? It didn't make me rich, but it did make me feel good. I have to admit that, because this guy earned it. He really did. I saw him mistreat so many people, and yeah. And that's something that really needs to stop, is people that see other people that are abused, humiliated, are beaten down, and they stand there silent, or they walk away. They don't say anything. I have this condition that, oh, I've got to say something, got to do something. And just like William said, yeah. Does it lead to success in business? No. It doesn't lead to much success anywhere, but it is the right thing, in my opinion, and it's worth it. It's like I've always said, if I have to stand and watch someone being abused, humiliated, beaten down, treated like trash, and walk away or ignore it to be successful in business, then I don't want to be successful. That's it. I mean, and let's see. Trish, you say, can't do that. I'd feel guilty afterwards doing it, but I know I would have to if they were crossing me for my own benefit. Yeah, corporate is only out for themselves, Elaine. That's true. But expect you to be loyal to them. Yes. And that's this horrible business mindset. Is so many corporations, businesses, the management, CEOs, whatever, they run the business fear-based. Employees do not respect you. They fear you. They fear losing their job. And they know that with one word that Mr. CEO, that you can end them. You can take everything from them. Just fire them. Yes, you have that power. But do they respect you? You believe they do. They don't respect you. They fear you. I say that, and like I said, it's so difficult, so hard to imagine, but running a business by setting an example to where your employees, you inspire them, you lift them up, but not by threats or not by what you say, but what you do. And that quiet strength, you don't walk around bragging about all blah, blah, blah. Actions speak, words don't. So, William, you say, there's a vast ocean between being too busy to talk to employees or making the hard calls and being a power-tripping power abuser. Absolutely. And these men that I work for, they absolutely, well, they weren't just bad men. I mean, they were evil. I mean, they would call us in, and by the way, I'm not bragging or anything, but they wanted us, and they threatened us. They threatened us every week. If you don't meet certain quota, this is the funeral business. If you don't meet a certain quota, you don't do this, you're going to be reprimanded. And if it happens again, you're going to be sent to special training on how to push the more expensive merchandise onto grieving families. And I told them, I said, I'm not going to do that. And they're like, what did he say? But I already knew what I was going. Trust me, I had a game plan, because I knew just by saying that I could lose my job right away. I said, I'm not gonna force anybody to buy anything. And they're like, come again? I said, I don't have to. I'll present it to them. I'll tell them the truth. I'll present it to them in such a way that they'll make up their mind. They'll make up their own mind whether or not to purchase it. So it's all about in the delivery. And they're like, yeah, this guy is not going to be here next week. Well, the record for consecutive sales of these certain plans, these higher price plans, that they all sold by force, by making people feel bad, was 7 consecutive sales. And I sat there, I beat that, having sold 11, which was unheard of, and I believe it still may be the record. And what really bothered them was they had me speak to all the other funeral directors in Houston, Texas, and was like, explain how you were so successful in selling these plans. And I said, well, it's pretty simple. I didn't force anyone. I just presented the product, and in such a way that they were fine. There was no coercion. There was no lies. There was no deceit. And certainly there was no one that was made to feel bad. And they did not like that. Not at all. So anyway, and I'm sure that you all have had similar experiences where they have this mindset that there's just one way to do things. Force. You have to pound it in. You have to, no. There's more than one way to do things. So, when you said there are good leaders and bad ones, I might fire a person on the drop of a hat and not care, but I would never stoop to being verbally abusive to those who I employ. Being hateful to those below you does nothing for your profit margin. In fact, makes the labor pool less productive. Absolutely. Yes. And yeah, servant leadership, Elaine. And one question, William, you say that you might fire a person on the drop of a hat and not care. Are you talking about someone that has like a bad employee, or I think that's what you're talking about, or are you talking about just Oh, okay. Okay. Good. Good. I was like, oh man. um, yeah. Thank God. Okay. Um, because I have seen, I've seen that too. Like, you know, manager, um, or, you know, someone having a bad day, first employee they see, they fire them. It's like, damn, how do you do that? You know? Right. Right. Not a random person, but bad employee. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yes. And, that's, with, with me, I mean, when I, you know, fired someone, you know, people would say, well, I bet that made you feel good. Well, it made me feel good, um, getting rid of the problem, taking care of the problem, but it didn't make me feel good to fire someone. I mean, I don't care how bad they were. I mean, they had a family, kids, you know, and, yeah, I mean, I think it would be, there would be something wrong with me if I took pleasure or I didn't feel some, um, regret doing so. Um, hey, um, let's see, Mamie 1919. I believe that's my that's my mother. Mom, is that you? um, but yeah, okay, there you go. My grandmother's name was Mamie, and she was born in 1919. So, well, welcome, Mom. Everyone, this is my mother, Shirley. Um, and so, anyway, we're talking about, the workplace and, talking about how, bosses and business owners, abuse employees and, treat them really bad, and, how they take their power away, and, you know, seemingly it's, something that they enjoy, doing, but, it's like vampires were. Say, I've been on here, just figured out how to talk to you. Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad you did. Um, but, okay. Anyway, um, what would you like to, you know, talk about? Yeah, vampires. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Vampires. Yeah, absolutely. And, what's, you know, strange, well, maybe it's not so strange, is the Bible. And I'm not preaching. I never preach, but I'm just saying, Bible says the life is in the blood. What do these vampires do? They suck the life out of you. Literally. Literally. Matter of fact, you would be better off, I believe, if they were really drinking your blood. Because when they take the life from you, that life force, what, just throw something out there, shock me, or, you know, we can talk about, mysticism, I don't know, the questions about the occult, questions about consciousness, the Kabbalah, different, religious sects, such as different forms of different belief systems, different groups of people. One topic that has trumped every other topic that I've done on the podcast. I have, shows. I think I've done 65 shows now. There's one I did that there was like, I think it's got like 500 people that have listened to it. But the show that I did on Rh negative blood and haplogroups and anomalous DNA and that show, it has there's been almost 4,000 people that have listened to that show on Rh negative blood, and most of the comments are about the shows that I've done on Rh negative blood. And I just want to say that and this is my fault, is I was doing the shows on Rh negative blood and got so caught up in that I didn't, failed to say anything about the Rh positive blood, because there are people that have Rh positive blood, but they have Rh negative recessive genes. So in a way, they're Rh negative too, and that's why that I was perplexed at how that I would meet people and they would they would tell me that they were Rh positive, and I would think, but why did I feel like that? We were just like I am with other Rh negatives, and that's why. That's why is they had the Rh negative recessive, genes or whatever. So that's why some Rh positive people, they basically they view the world as Rh negative people do. Mommy said, is that the same blood of Jesus? Well, they say that the blood of Jesus was AB negative, but truthfully, I don't think that they know what the blood type of Jesus was. It's like this guy that that supposedly, oh man, this guy is, I'm sorry, but I have to call him out, because number one, I can't stand the guy. Number two, he's so cocky and just so belligerent. And he's a self-proclaimed demonologist. He's an exorcist. And he has a piece of the true cross that was given to him by the Pope. And I'm thinking, Really? The true cross, huh? Hmm. Wow. You know, if you took every piece of wood from the true cross and you put them all together, you could build Noah's Ark. I mean, the true cross, you know. And that's just it. That's they say you know that uh, yeah, right. But um, it's like if the true cross even still exists, um, it's very strange because I'm not I'm not saying anything against religion or you know, against the Bible or anything, but when you read the Bible, language, word study, languages, if you want to know truth, if you really want to get down to brass tacks, study languages, study word structures. Because in the Bible, it says in the Greek that Jesus was hung on a stauros. Stauros is not a cross. Stauros is a pole. A pole. Okay. Now, Jesus said, just as Moses hung the brazen serpent on the pole in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man be hung, nailed likewise. Moses didn't nail the brass serpent to a cross. He nailed it to a pole. The Greek word in the New Testament says stauros, pole. Jesus was crucified on a pole, not a cross. So, you know, that's what I'm saying is history has been given to us. History has been given to us, and the someone it was last night when Anna Hardy was on with me. She said that that those in power, you know, the powers that be, she said that they were supposedly laughing, which, yeah, I believe it. Supposedly laughing about that they pass all kinds of legislation that is just lies and falsehood and this and that, because the majority of the sheeple, that's what they call us, you know, and the goyim, the cattle. By the way, that's a Jewish derogatory term. And right, and they say that it's simple, that nobody takes the time to read, and if they do, they just they read the words and they say, okay, I read it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You looked at it. You looked at the words, but you didn't comprehend it. You can read every day. You can read 10 hours a day, and if you don't understand what you're reading, you might as well just burn the books. You're wasting your time. And how many people say, oh man, I've heard this before, you know, these so-called super spiritual Christians, it's like, boy, I'm reading my Bible 5 hours a day. Good for you. What did you read? Well, I read the book of Revelation. Oh, great. Tell me about it. Well, this and that, this and that. It's like, well, I know that. I mean, I've read it, but you're just repeating what it says. What does it mean? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it means. Wow. That's 5 hours of your day. You could have been out drinking beer and fishing. I mean, which would have been much better than putting on that act, thinking that you're doing something really good when you're just reading so fast. It's like they know the words, but they don't know the music, and they think they're making a song. No. The words and the music, you have to know both. If you don't, you're going to be out of sync. And that is, I'm sorry, but that is lack of knowledge, which is also known as ignorance, which is also known as darkness, which was what I was talking about at the beginning. And that's not a derogatory term when I say ignorant. I've been there. I was probably the most ignorant, one, thinking that, oh man, yeah, I know this and I know that, until I asked myself, how do I know it? Well, somebody told me. And then I thought, well, someone had to tell them. Who told them? And who told them? And who told them? I didn't know anything. So I had to unlearn everything that I thought I knew. And that's when I started to see the light, the knowledge, not blinding light, But let me see. Let me catch up here. William, you say that would mean they could possibly have an Rh negative child that would have complications and probably die in the womb. Right. Well, true. Yes. Now it is usually an, well, we'll figure. Okay. In every case, since the Rh factor has been known, to my knowledge, and to many other people's knowledge, it has always been an Rh negative woman who has problems with an Rh positive father. Her body rejects the Rh positive blood, the genetics, whatever. Okay, but it has never been that an Rh positive woman has ever had a problem with an Rh negative man. And if anyone can find where such a case exists or has happened, please contact me and let me know, because I am Rh negative. Matter of fact, I'm Rh null. And my ex-wife was Rh positive. and she had 2 miscarriages. And we went to leading fertility clinic, experts, world renowned. They have something like a 90% success rate. I mean, they're just great. Fertility doctors, they have geneticists that they consult with, and genetic experts. We had extensive blood tests, genetic tests, and they opened hers and they said, okay, hers is normal. They opened mine and the doctor's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Moore, but we're going to have to do a second test on you. Your test results were somehow compromised. I said, compromised? Oh, how? Well, I have no idea, but definitely compromised. And I said, in what way? Well, I don't know, but these are definitely have been compromised. So anyway, they went through a second series of tests, and we went back the next week, and there was this was a husband and wife doctor team, and they had their nurse there, and we're all sitting at a table, and they opened my test results, and their response was really strange. And the nurse actually screamed. I'm thinking, well, I wish I could say that this is surprising me, but hey. And I said, what's wrong? And the entire atmosphere changed in that room. They were no longer, they weren't mean, they weren't rude, but they were very standoffish and looking at me like, I don't know, like I was some kind of, I don't know. I'm talking, they didn't even get near me, to where when, before shaking hands, can I get you some water, coffee, or whatever? No, it. And I said, what's wrong? And he says, you just have a very rare blood type. And I was, okay. I said, but I saw her, pointing to the nurse. I said, I saw her. I said, I saw you all, but I saw her really jump back. I said, I saw this look of fear on her face. And I said, and she screamed. I said, so, explain that. He says, well, would you mind if we sent your test results to our genetic mentor, expert geneticist in Chicago? And I said, I don't mind at all. So he said, okay. He says, give us, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and we'll be back. And so he came back, and he says, I said, what's the, and this guy was just like, he said, we sent him your test results. And he said, he called us and said, that's good. That's good. He says, you almost got me. It was really good. He said, he thought we were playing a practical joke on him. And I told him, he said, no, it's no practical joke. He says, the man's, I swear, verbatim, he said, I told him, the man's test results that you have, blood and genetic test results that you have, is sitting in my office right now. And he said that the genetic expert in Chicago, their mentor said, if the one whose test results these are is sitting in your office, it's not a man sitting in your office. And my hair stood up. And I'm like, well, I always knew I was a bit different, but this is a bit much. And I said, so what's the mom, let's see, you say, back years ago, they took blood tests from a couple getting married to see if they were compatible. Right. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Good night. I love you too. Thank you. Thank you so much for staying up this late. My mom, she's an angel. I always have her up in the air harping about something. I'm kidding. She's a lot of my life. But let's see. William, you say, I would have asked for proof of origin just to watch a liar squirm and give excuses. Absolutely. That's right. Yeah, me too. And I have to say that when you have these experts and, well, we've done this and everything, and you ask one question that's a valid question, and it just blows them out of the water, and you know it does because their head like explodes, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have an answer. And that's when I'm thinking, well, there's a lot more where that came from, so get ready. You say, what was the saying? A fool can recite volumes, but only a wise man can understand it. Absolutely. The truth, people say the truth will set you free. Like, no, it won't. The truth will set you free. Truth is truth. But is truth going to set you free just because it's truth? No. If you don't know it, how can it set you free? If you don't understand it, then, theoretically, technically, how can it be truth to you unless you understand it? Like Elaine said, going through the motions. Yeah. That's why that with me personally, in my humble opinion, I believe that, well, it's something that I practice, that I do, is anytime that I go to speak or debate with someone, I guess you could call it, well, not a heated conversation, but more like intensive fellowship. I make sure that I have researched and re-researched and re-researched and tried to find spirited debate, and tried to find every way to disprove it. The problem is, well, it's like the, Sherlock Holmes, when a person starts out with a preconceived, theory that they're going to prove, they're always going to prove it. But if you reverse that and you try to disprove it, and you keep coming up with the same thing, then you're left with truth. And that's just, that's true. Truth need not scream. Truth need not scream. And that's what I love about truth is you can have every person on the planet against you. But if you're standing in truth, you're going to stand. They're the ones that are going to fall. In my opinion, truth is supreme. Love and truth. I mean, you just don't get, nothing that powerful. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. Absolutely. But there's, people that say the truth will set you free. Not unless you know it. And that's what I'm talking about. Just because people, I think it's, I think it's like bragging, being proud of, well, I read my Bible, 3 hours a day, or I get up 2 hours early to read my Bible, and oh, great. I mean, but when they can't tell you anything about it, that's proof that they're just going through the motions. They're not there. They're not there. They're not interested. They're enduring rather than enjoying. They're doing it because they're serving. It's like serving a sentence. They're not doing it because they really want to. That's sad. William, you say science is about explaining the unknown and then try to debunk the theory. If it can withstand debunking, it is the prime theory until such time it is debunked. Even today, relativity is called out. Debate is important to maintain facts. Yes. And yeah, and I love a good debate. But not so much, it's not even a debate when someone says, something like, well, I know it's true because my granddad, nothing against your granddad, but what if your granddad was wrong? Okay, well, even if he was wrong, he's still right. He's my granddad. It's like, okay, see ya. I'm not gonna waste my time, and I'm not being rude. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to waste my time with a mentality like that, because it's like trying to teach a pig to sing. It wastes your time and annoys the pig. I'm not calling anybody a pig. I'm just saying that's the truth. When you say, oh, I am so guilty of that, of what? Traditions, like I used to when I was younger, I did the same thing. My grandmother, or my granddad, just because, nothing against anybody's grandparents or parents or someone that you hold in high esteem, nothing against them, but my God, they can be wrong. Does it mean that they're bad? Am I slamming them? No. I'm simply saying that if you hold to someone, if you define truth, even when the person's wrong, But because you hold them in such high esteem, even when they're wrong, they're right. You're lost. And I don't mean that like in a religious way. I mean, I'm talking you're lost until you come to the point to where truth is truth no matter what. And I've always said this, even if Jesus himself were to appear to me and tell me something that was not true, I wouldn't believe him. I mean, truth speaks for itself. And I said Jesus. I mean, I'm saying like an angel or whatever, some dimensional being that, oh, I'm an angel, I'm here to tell you this and everything. Truths need not scream. It need not fight. It need not be forced. It stands on its own. And one thing I love about truth is no one, I don't care who you are, no one can say, well, I didn't know it was truth. When you experience truth, you know it. You know it. You either accept it or you reject it. And most of the time, people reject it because it means they have to change. It means they would have to, and it's hard. It's hard. Change is hard. I mean, I had to do it. Talk about, man, like swallowing a brick. Oh, man. But you can't get around it. You can't get around it. You can ignore it, but it's still there. So, William, you say, I have knowledge that gets called into question where the origin of what I thought I knew was wrong, but it was just a tradition. Yeah. Well, yes. And that's, something that, I've been guilty of that too. My grandmother and grandfather used to say that, just as an example, they would say, don't drink milk when you're eating fish. It'll kill you. Well, I was little, I mean, I was a kid. Okay. So I'm like a teenager or, late teens, maybe 18, 19. I see somebody eating fish and drinking milk, and I'm like, that's dangerous. What's dangerous about it? I said, well, it can kill you. What? And yeah, watermelon seeds will grow in your stomach. Right. And I said, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Well, my grandparents told me that. So it has to be true. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. How many times in the past, or even now, when you hear a reporter or you hear a journalist or talk show host or somebody say, hey, this is the news, so-and-so said something, and, they're threatening, to blow up some country, and they're threatening terrorism and this and that. How many times have you said, hell with them, let's bomb them. My God, I mean, we need to send the Navy, the Air Force, and just bomb the hell out of them. Just wipe them off. Is it true? Is there a chance that all of that could be a lie? Yeah. Look into false flags, false flag terrorism. Look into that and see the horror of that. And it goes on all the time. William, you're right. Change is hard. Elaine, you said my brothers. Laugh out loud. William, you say we have been burned by the media firsthand so many times that we just ignore the media's opinions. Oh, I have, and I'm going to say this on YouTube, so I hope I don't get kicked off, but there's been people that have for saying this, and I don't mean to keep coming back to it, but it's yeah. It is something that I've my last three or four podcasts have been on the Zionism, and how it is in my opinion, I'm not saying, it's fact. I'm just saying, in my opinion, it is the number one greatest threat to not only the United States, but the world right now. Now, before anyone, says, oh, he's an anti-Semite or whatever. I'm not anti anything. I'm not against any person. I'm not against any people. I'm not against any ethnic group. Matter of fact, I have had overzealous Christians contact me, telling me about how they don't know why that a Satanist was rude to them when they went up and began telling them how wrong they were and how they were going to burn in hell for all eternity, and that, but God loves you. So I just explained to him, I said, okay, this guy contacts me and he says, and I mean, this guy's like 40, 45 years old. I mean, he knew better. Well, should have known better, but he sees this, this young man sitting on a bus or whatever, he's got tattoos, and which, I mean, I have tattoos, but I mean, he had like satanic tattoos or whatever. And he said, so I went over, and he says, I sat down. He said, I started telling him, you're wrong, you're evil, And I said, why did you do that? I'm trying to save him. That's not your job to do that. Matter of fact, what did he do to you? Nothing. That's exactly. I said, but you're telling me that he was rude to you. No, you were rude to him. I said, look at it this way. How would you feel if he saw you with your Bible and he comes up to you and sits down and starts telling you how wrong you are and how evil you are, and how you're going to burn, or, you're going to be tortured and He says, well, I never quite heard it like that. Yeah, exactly right. I said, so who was rude to who? I said, you judged him. You judged him and you ran over. Boy, you're a righteous, you're God's only soldier. I mean, I said, that you saw the tattoos? Man. But that's just it. Is a person, they may say that they're a Satanist or whatever, does that mean that they're evil? I mean, we've been, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that they believe, and but I'm just saying that that's the problem in the world today is the belief systems. I'm right, you're wrong. And you just, they're forcing their beliefs down other people's throats, and you're going to take this. Well, that's proof that it's not truth, because truth doesn't require force. It does it on its own. It speaks for itself. And but that's it's a very good point. Is if there was more understanding instead of jumping to conclusions, this world would be a better place. But we've been trained, we've been indoctrinated to, they're bad. This is what they do. This is what they do. They do this, they do that. But anyway, that's what I've talked about the last few podcasts is Zionism. And I'll tell you, it is really, really bad when the Zionists own the media. You think you're going to get news? You think you're going to get truth from Fox News, from CNN, from ABC, NBC, CBS? You think you're going to get truth from any major media news source? Look who owns them. Really, look who owns them. And for years, people, New York Times, Washington Post, boy, that's what I read, and it's the truth. Never knowing that Sun Young Moon of the Moonies owned both newspapers, and everything had to go through him before it was printed. Yeah, that's pretty shocking. Washington Post has to go through a Korean billionaire cult leader. Yeah. Why? Money talks. You better believe it. Look it up. Look up who owns MSNBC. You'd be shocked. Who owns? Well, think about this. And this is not conspiracy theory anymore. This is fact. Think about this. When
when Gutenberg, started the printing press, they learned something very, very quickly, very quick, that you could use news and false news as a weapon that was much more efficient than any military physical weapon. Words. You really want to know the true definition of witchcraft and black magic and dark arts and manipulation. Words. The power of the spoken word. Say witches use spells and they cast spells and blah, blah, blah. It's all manipulation. That's all it is. And they're very good at it. But the spoken word is very powerful. What you speak has extreme power. Words can heal, words can kill. Okay, well, they look at propaganda, how they've used propaganda to start wars and to change history just by propaganda. Somebody reads it, oh well, it's news, must be true, has to be true. Okay, so what I'm saying is that when you see Fox News, Megyn Kelly, whatever, can't stand her, she is giving a very, very limited report, and the video and audio has been sliced. I mean, it's been spliced. Where certain things are said, but it's not. And I'm thinking, why is this woman lying like this? I mean, the man did not say that. What they were talking about they were talking about the Iranian president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad or whatever. I know I murdered that pronunciation, but she said he's at the UN now, spouting anti-Semitic remarks about his hatred and murderous hatred of the Jews and how they need to be wiped off the face of the earth. That the Israeli delegate and the United States delegate got up and walked out, and the camera showed them walking out, showed their empty seats, and showed him speaking. So, he's a bad guy, right? Yeah. But he didn't say that. He did not say that. What he said was he had no problem with Christians. He had no problem with the Jewish people. He had no problem with Muslims. I mean, he said Zionism is what he had a problem with. Because he said, look in history, look throughout history, and you'll see that there has been more bloodshed, more wars, more loss of life for the Zionist cause. That Zionism should be wiped off the face of the earth. Now, keep in mind, these politicians and these people, these leaders, and I'm telling it like it is, I just am. And I know, William, you say, yeah, be careful there. Don't get specific. Well, I've been silent too long. And what happens, happens. And it's time that we, that we step out of being afraid of speaking truth and speak it. And, if that means, being punished or even being killed, then so be it. I'm fine with that because I'm standing in truth. And the truth is look at history, not history as you have been taught. Look at true history. Look at false flag terrorism. Look at the number one group who claim to be the true people, and you know what I'm talking about, but they're not. I'm not talking about the true people, and it rhymes with chew. I'm not talking about the true people that are vehemently against Zionism. They're speaking out about it. They're saying it's wrong. They're saying that it is evil, that it's murderous, that it's horrible, and has led to atrocities that we can't even imagine. So, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the ones that take great pride in being in power and having all this, they can do what they want to do, and they answer to nobody. It's time. It is time that we stand up, speak out, and take a stand. And I'm not talking about any violence or anything. I'm just talking about speaking out and against what is wrong. I mean, we're talking genocide. We're talking torture. Anyway, but what has happened is I truthfully believe that, or I did believe for the longest time that that the world would be would come under the control of an evil system. But I always viewed that evil system as as, I don't know, like, like Satanism, like it was in the 1980s, the satanic panic. And I thought it would be just, and then I thought, well, no, it's going to be some cult or whatever, Read about and do your own research about how the how these people, these so-called chosen people, but they're not, how they are really riding and pressuring our leaders at the highest levels to sign their laws into effect. And they have since Jimmy Carter was president. George H.W. Bush in 1991 signed those laws into effect in 1991. They were sandwiched in with the proclamation of Rabbi Schneerson's birthday being the United States Education Day. Now, it's really what's really telling about that is that Schneerson was rabid. I mean, he was a rabid rabbi. Chabad, Lubavitcher, Talmudic Jew. And the sect that of that group, like, they're called the Doomsday Sect. And so what their idea is that they want their Moshiach, their Messiah, to come. And they believe that by doing certain things, provoking wars, even starting Armageddon or the apocalypse, will force their Moshiach to come back, to return. So they're doing it. Okay. Schneerson had the 7 Noahide laws. You can look those up. The 7 Noahide laws. Shall not murder, shall not commit adultery, shall not steal, things that are, common knowledge. I mean, you just don't do those things. But the thing is those laws, they don't apply to them. They only apply to people that are not them. Us. Yeah. You need to look that up. It's frightening. And the penalty of breaking those laws is death. Wow. Yeah, death. So that is insane. And why would in 1970s, why would American presidents be pressured to sign such laws into effect? And why would that take place? I mean, we're talking, they're in the Oval Office, and they are these certain people, certain group of people. They're pressuring President of the United States since Jimmy Carter to sign these, and George H.W. Bush did. But they're not being enforced. Well, guess what? They want them enforced now. They want them enforced now. And you say, well, that can't happen. This is the United States. You're just, Shane, you're crazy. You're just, okay. Fact. Every new U.S. lawmaker must sign and take an oath of loyalty to Israel. Now, and then AIPAC, the largest lobby for Israel, they paid something like $16 million over the years for every new U.S. lawmaker, a trip to Israel, get to know the Holy Land, get to know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Why is that? Well, AIPAC's got a lot of money, and money talks. So what I'm saying is what it comes down to is, why would any United States new lawmaker, have to sign an oath of loyalty to another country, to another state? But it's true. Another fact is that there have been 26 states in the United States that have deemed it punishable to boycott Israel or to speak out against Israel or to criticize Israel. I'm not saying I'm against Israel. I'm just speaking the truth. 2017, there were Texas business owners. When the hurricanes hit, floods and everything, they could not receive aid for the hurricane damage unless they signed an oath of loyalty to Israel and that they would not boycott Israel. Now, explain to me how that has any bearing on a Texas businessman receiving aid for his business damages by the hurricane. How does that have anything to do with anything? There were people who had to do the same thing before they could receive their insurance coverage for the hurricanes. And some didn't sign it, and they didn't get paid. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and that's wrong on every level. And this isn't gonna win me any friends, and may throw a lot of people against me, but that's fine. If you were going to rule the world, if you were going to globally rule the world, how would you do it? Would you go out and force, would you do it by force? No. Wouldn't work. People would rise up and, it wouldn't work. So, deception would work. Deception would definitely work. Because you would be presenting lies. You would be presenting deception as truth. And people would accept it as truth. Let's say that they did. Let's just say that they accepted it as truth and it's a lie. Does it matter? Hey, Randy, glad you joined us. Does it matter if it's a lie? No. All that matters is that they accept it as truth and that they believe it to be true. Okay? Now, the greatest deception would be it would be bad enough to say, well, granddad, grandma said it, so it's true. Take that further. The greatest deception would be to do something and say, God Almighty said it was true. That God Himself said, this is what you do, and you do it. I'm just saying, if someone wanted to rule the world, someone wanted to say, have everyone else serve them as slaves and lick their feet. Just, But that's not coming from me. It's coming from former Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, who said that, and I quote, that the Gentiles, those that aren't them, are cattle, ignorant, worse than cattle. that they are divine beings on this planet, and we are to serve them. We are like insects to them. And it is their goal, their mission, to rule the world and to see every Gentile serve them and lick their feet. And you want to talk about murderous, read the Talmud. Read the Talmud. That's what they don't want you to read. They don't want you to read it because it's so horrible. I'm talking. It's okay to. They say it's okay to murder Gentiles, and even the best Gentile is better off dead. Yeah. Yes. People, please do not think that I am against anyone. What I'm against is I'm against this belief system. And it's wrong. It is wrong. It doesn't matter who it's from. It's wrong. It doesn't matter who says it. Doesn't matter who believes it, who promulgates it, who promotes it, who encourages it, who finances it. It's wrong. And now you've got Christian evangelicals that, I'm Zionist, blah, blah. Do you even know what it is? Well, it's a spiritual movement for the chosen people. Objection, Your Honor. No, it's not. It's a political movement. It's a political movement. It has nothing to do with spirituality. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It has everything to do with money. But even more than that, it has everything to do with power. These people, they don't need money. They have no use for money. I mean, we're talking about the Rothschilds alone. Their net worth, what, $500 trillion? They don't need more money. They're not interested in money. They're interested in power. And they want global power. Well, remember on September 11th, 1991, I believe it was. It was September 11th, when George H.W. Bush gave his speech, his creepy speech in the Oval Office about how there would be a new world order. And he was just, we're going to have a new world order. 1,000 points of light. It'll no longer be the law of the jungle. But, this and that. Creepy. I mean, ugh. Watch it. It's very creepy. And he says, and we will succeed. And we will have a new world order. Is it just me, or is it just coincidence that in 1991 same year he says he gives this speech from the Oval Office is the same year that he signed the Noahide laws into effect, sandwiched in with Rabbi Schneerson's birthday, making the United States Education Day on Rabbi Schneerson's birthday. And another bombshell. Don't shoot the messenger. Jared Kushner, the main advisor, senior advisor to the president, he is he holds Rabbi Schneerson in very high esteem. Rabbi Schneerson died, I believe, in 92 or 94. Okay, on the eve of the elections, 2016, Jared Kushner and his wife, Ivanka, who, by the way, is now Chabad. She has taken up Chabad Judaism and changed her name to Yael, although she still goes by her, but her name is Yael. It's her Jewish name. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, it's true. Okay, they both went to Rabbi Schneerson's grave and prayed to him that the election would be won by her father. And when he won, they attributed his win to Rabbi Schneerson. Okay. Rabbi Schneerson was, had some bad beliefs. I mean, just very, very, completely, man, he didn't think much of anyone different than his people. Okay. Fast forward to right now. Jared Kushner is being sent to Israel on April the 9th, which is, by the way, the Israeli elections. Just a second. The Israeli elections, okay? Why is he being sent there? To work out a peace treaty between Israel and the Palestinians. Yeah. Something that has never been done in human history. Peace between those two nations has never been successful, never been pulled off successfully. No one's ever done it, which is very strange because, again, I'm not preaching. I'm just a messenger. The book of Daniel in the Old Testament, Daniel says that there would be a little horn that would rise up. He called it the little horn, called him the little horn. A man rise up seemingly out of nowhere. This guy just come out of the blue. Boom. Here he is. And that he would have a dark countenance. And I thought for a long time that, I took it literally. He would have a dark complexion. No, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about he would have a stern countenance, strictly business, that he would understand dark sentences, dark sayings, which means he would understand occultic things, hidden things, and that he would be none other than, for lack of a better term, I'm not throwing this term around, the Antichrist, okay? And that's just against Christ. Okay. So, I'm not saying anything that it doesn't say about itself. Fact is the I mean, Judaism is against Christ. They say he's not their Messiah. Okay? They say that he was the false Messiah. He was this, he was that. All right? They're against Christ. What's another term for that? Antichrist. Antichrist. So Judaism, and I mean, it's no secret, they're against Christ, Antichrist. Jared Kushner, yeah, Chabad, Lubavitch, Judaism. But Daniel says that the little horn, the one that came up out of nowhere, very mysterious, would sign a peace treaty between Israel and Palestinians, or it's actually Jacob, Israel, children of Jacob, children of Israel, children of Esau, the twins, the sons of Isaac. Goes way back. Okay. I just find it interesting that Daniel says that this little horn, this man of sin, son of perdition, would sign a peace treaty with Israel, and and then in the middle of you too, Elaine, I'm about to wrap it up myself. So, and then in the middle of the peace treaty, he would turn. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, and thank you so much for being here. But in the middle of the peace treaty, he would turn on Israel and basically say, hey, this is who I am. This is, I got you. And that it would be hell on earth. And I'm not saying that, I'm just, saying what Daniel says, there'd be hell on earth, that and then it would be Armageddon, the second coming, the apocalypse, whatever, which is what these people want. They want it. They want the world to be, they want their Messiah to come back. Okay. So bad that if they have to start World War III, they'll do it. That's why they call them the Doomsday sect, you know. Yeah. What's going on right now? What's going on right now? Syria. You got Russia and Venezuela. Yeah. You got two biggest dogs on the block. Usually sooner or later those dogs fight. There's workings going on behind the scenes to ensure that something like that happens. I mean, look at everything that's going on. Syria, Golan Heights, infuriated everybody. Or proclaiming Jerusalem to be the capital of Israel. Yeah, why do you think that was done? To incite, to get a reaction, to incite people. The world. They are hell-bent on bringing World War III. And they might get it. They might get it. Now, I'm not saying that I believe all this. In fact, I don't. But what's frightening is they do. They do. So, Jared Kushner, with really no political experience at all, just comes out of the blue. Boom. He's Trump's senior campaign advisor also. A lot of people say that he's the one responsible for Trump being president. Matter of fact, there were some magazines that were calling him President Kushner. Okay. Very strange. But who knows? Certainly something to watch. But that's how I believe that these things work, is that it's not so much in your face. It's the things that take place in secret, in darkness. And on top of all that, Jared Kushner in 2008 paid $1.8 billion for a building that was not worth $1.8 billion. In fact, he paid at least three times more than what the building was worth and what the building sold for 10 years prior to that. And it just happened to be 666 Fifth Avenue. And they asked him, why did you bid so high, $1.8 billion? And he said, I wanted to make sure I got the building and no one
outbidded me. Now he has since sold, I believe he has sold 49% of that to a firm or something. But he had to have that building. I'm not saying that building's got any kind of special power. In fact, I don't believe it does. But I just find it very strange that he had to have that building. There's nothing really special about that building. Only it's 666 Fifth Avenue. And on the 6th floor of that building is where Lucent Technologies was working on developing, and they did, the RFID chip. Did you know that? The biofrequency chip, that they put in your hand, inject in your hand. Yeah. That research was going on at that building, 666 Fifth Avenue, owned by Jared Kushner and Lucent Technologies. Lucent Technologies, half of Lucent Technologies was or is owned by George Soros. Okay, well, get this. The hits just keep coming. The Kushner family and the Netanyahu family are family friends and have been for a long time. Netanyahu has said publicly that he remembers Jared when he was this tall, and he dotes on him like a father would his son, and that when Netanyahu would come to the United States, New Jersey or whatever, he would sleep in Jared's bed and Jared would sleep in the basement. They're close. What? Well, you've got Jared Kushner now. He's in a very powerful position, senior advisor to the president, and has basically known Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, his entire life, who is being sent on April 9th, the election day in Israel, to somehow broker or work out a peace treaty between Israel and Palestinians. And Benjamin Netanyahu, with this election coming up, he is being indicted on charges of bribery and I forget what else. So he's really under a lot of stress. As far as the election, doesn't want to lose. Wants to retain that power. Now, once again, I am not against anyone. And I'll say this in closing. I'm not against anyone. I'm not against any group. I am not against any ethnicity, any belief system.
unless that belief system is or has hurt or killed and murdered men, women, children because of this hateful, racist ideology. I am against that. I am against anyone who abuses others, who can't defend themselves or are too afraid to defend themselves, but they're being attacked because of who they are or their skin color. It's racist. It's genocide. It's ethnic cleansing, apartheid. I mean, many different terms, but it's the same. It comes from the same place. And that's just hatred. Now, people say, well, what's evil? What's, they talk about things being scary and things being evil and things being this and that. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a given. I mean, that's, yeah, it is scary. But true evil doesn't come at you as a monster or come at you as a demon and, hello, I'm evil. No. It comes at you by deception and portrays itself to be good. What did Paul say? Paul the Apostle Paul? He said, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. Pretending to be something he's not. Sound familiar? Anyway, thank you for those of you that took part in the live chat. Thank you for those of you who listened and didn't take part in the live chat. And thank you for those of you who are listening to the rebroadcast. I appreciate you. You can contact me at the Texarcist podcast at gmail.com. That's the Texarcist podcast at gmail.com. Or you can call me on the show line at 903-956-0055 and leave a message if I don't answer. And I'll give you a call back. Anyway, love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night from Texas. See you next time.